Next on PIJN News, Dr. Chaps reports on these important issues.
ISIS terrorists immigrating to the United States, is it threatening our national security? Also, what does the 14th Amendment really say about immigration and anchor babies? We're going to interview Josh Bernstein right now.
Former Navy chaplain Gordon James Klingenschmitt took a stand to defend religious freedom by daring to pray publicly in Jesus' name. Now he helps you by reporting the news, discerning the spirits, and praying the scriptures. Would you pray with us? Here's Dr. Chaps.
God bless you in Jesus' name. My name is Chaplain Gordon James Klingenschmitt, Dr. Chaps, and you're watching PIJN News. On this show, we like to report the news, discern the spirits, and pray the scriptures in Jesus' name. But today we have a special guest. Live via Skype from Scottsdale, Arizona, is our returning guest, Josh Bernstein, who is a political activist, conservative commentator, television host, radio host, and prominent member of the Jewish community. Welcome, Josh Bernstein, to our program.
Great to be back with you.
So, Josh, you live in a border state, and before we get into the whole controversy over, illegal immigrants coming to America, having babies here, we're going to get into the anchor baby controversy, but you're also a defender of Israel, a defender of our national security. You believe that America should have a strong border security program, but there are ISIS terrorists who are now immigrating to America because of the lax immigration policies of the Obama administration. Is that your take on it? What do you say?
You're absolutely correct. I think there's more than one gateway, if you will, for ISIS to get into America. Number one, coming through the southern border. We know that there is an area south of El Paso, Texas, about 8 miles, called El Napra. And El Napra is, they have said, is an ISIS encampment that is just sitting there, and the FBI knows about it. So obviously we know that they found prayer rugs and Korans on the southern border. That's one way. The other way that they can get in is through the northern border. We just had the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, elected in Canada. And one of the first things that he said he was going to do is he was going to get rid of the other policies of the former chancellor to their country, and prime minister, I mean. And so that means that he's going to allow more refugees into his country. And where do you think some of them are going to go? They're going to go down. They're going to go south, and they're going to go into the northern states in America. And look, I've said this before. If Donald Trump thinks he has to build one fence on the southern border, he might have to build 2 fences, one for the north as well. Now, let's also not forget this new trade agreement. The Trans-Pacific Partnership clearly has language in it that allows for up to as many as 40 different countries to come in unabated, unvetted, if you will, through the immigration angle and the work visa programs through the trade agreements as well. And then obviously we know that the Syrian, quote, refugees, which again I believe is the largest Trojan horse of the 21st century, we know that ISIS has infiltrated these quote unquote refugees. So that's 4 distinct and separate ways that ISIS can come into the United States, and unfortunately, they already are here.
So we've seen evidence of this. This is not just speculation, but the San Bernardino shooting was carried out by a woman and her husband. I think the husband has been in America longer, but the woman came directly from the Middle East and co-opted and actually joined ISIS and resolved to come to America to kill people. And that's what her husband and she did when they shot. I think 13 were killed and dozens injured. This is not speculation, but what is our solution? What should our policy be?
Well, getting back to the San Bernardino shooting, I actually knew one of the people. They were big supporters of my show, Nicholas Thalassinos, so I actually reached out to his lovely widow and gave my condolences. But yeah, I mean, look, 14 Americans were slaughtered, and there's no question that these people were had an allegiance to terrorism and to ISIS. As a matter of fact, she pledged allegiance to al-Baghdadi right before on Facebook. Also, the fact that Nicholas and the perpetrator, I can't remember his name at the time, had a conversation about 2 weeks beforehand in which they were talking about terrorism in Israel and things like that. And again, Nick, he would speak his mind as anyone should speak their mind. And he threatened him at that time that you'll never see Israel, because I think he was planning a trip to Israel. So, you look at the fact that Anwar al-Awlaki had his speeches were also part of the first shooter, the male shooters, YouTube channels and things like that. So there's no question that that they were influenced by ISIS. But that's not just that. I mean, you can look at the Fort Hood shooting. You can look at what happened in Oklahoma, the beheading in Oklahoma last year. I mean, there's so many. What about the Umpqua college shooting, in which they purposely asked people, the shooter purposely asked people, are you a Christian? And if they said yes, boom. So they're here. There's no question about it. And this administration's response is to what? Fight global warming. Meanwhile, you have a monotheistic, death cult circulating the globe, rampaging over every Western European, Canadian, and the United States countries, and we're fighting climate change. Makes no sense to me.
Now, there has been an argument, and we're going to take a short commercial break here, but when we come back, I'm going to ask you, Josh, particularly, is there a Judeo-Christian compassionate response to immigrants who are in need of refuge? I mean, you think about the Statue of Liberty, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. We should have some kind of response to welcome law-abiding citizens, but it's not sanctuary cities. I'll just leave you with that. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with Josh Bernstein.
Dr. Chaps will be right back with more PIJN news.
Introducing FaxCongress.com. Do you care about politics, defending pro-life causes, traditional marriage, and religious freedom? At FaxCongress.com, you can create any petition to Congress, and we will convert your e-petition instantly to real fax paper on your congressman's desk. And the best part? It's free. Want your voice heard by multiple congressmen? At FaxCongress.com, we can blast your petition to all 535 congressmen and senators instantly. And you don't even need a fax machine. Not only do we deliver your petitions instantly, but with our dashboard feature, you can quickly recruit friends on Facebook and Twitter to co-sign your petition. Do you care about a particular cause? You can build a virtual army of supporters at FaxCongress.com. Do you lead a church, faith-based organization, or PAC? We can even help you do fundraising. It's free. Just visit FaxCongress.com and try it out. Make a difference. Sign any petition today at FaxCongress.com. FaxCongress.com.
How is your marriage doing? Ladies, would you like to learn how to get your husband to love you the way Christ loves the church? Men, would you like your wife to show proper respect? There's a Bible way to have a godly marriage. I'm not saying I'm the expert, but we interview in a 4-part video teaching series a marriage and family ministry expert, Vince D'Acchioli, and we go through the scriptures in 4 different parts. Part 1 is God's design for man and woman. Part 2 is godly roles for husband and wife. 3 is sex and intimacy within godly marriage, and also God's plan for divorce. You want to have this important 4-part video series available for a suggested donation of $30 if you call our toll-free prayer line at 866-OBEY-GOD. Again, that's 866-OBEY-GOD. Or visit our website, prayinjesusname.org.
Stay tuned for the end of our show to learn how to partner with this ministry. Here's Dr. Chaps.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Chaps. I'm joined again by Josh Bernstein, television host and conservative political commentator from Scottsdale, Arizona. Welcome back, Josh, to the program. So, Josh, I'm an evangelical Christian. You are a conservative Jew. Is there a Judeo-Christian compassionate response to people who are poor or actually sincere, nonviolent refugees that need to come to America?
Absolutely. I think that there is. However, the way that this current administration is going about things, and for that matter, Western Europe and even Canada, is absolutely wrong and very dangerous. I think that the majority of these folks don't want to really leave their homelands. This is the place where they grew up, where they lived. This is their surroundings, what they know. And I think that we ought to set up refugee camps in and around safe areas, safe zones, if you will, in Syria, in Iraq, wherever they may be, and put these folks there. And then get serious about taking out the rat's nest. Go in there, do the job that we have to do, which is boots on the ground, take care of these folks, clean out the area, and when things are safe, bring them back to their homelands. I'm sure that the majority of them want to go back to their lives. They want to go back to their families, their relatives, the things that they know. And maybe there's some of them that want to come here. But I really think until our vetting process, just like Donald Trump said, he didn't say anything out of the ordinary. He didn't say anything radical. He said, wait a minute, time out. We've got to find out what their intentions are, who they are, where they're coming from, and what they want to do when they get here. There's absolutely nothing radical about that approach. So I think until we have a clear and distinct vetting process that is verifiable, that we know who and where these people are from and coming from, I believe we ought to do it the safe way, which is to have set up refugee camps outside of America, preferably in the Middle East.
Now, some cities, particularly in Democrat strongholds like San Francisco, have declared themselves sanctuary cities. In other words, they welcome illegal immigrants to live there and be taken care of by the socialist sort of version of their system. Is that helpful or harmful to our compassion as a nation toward people who need to come?
It's absolutely harmful. I mean, Kathleen Steinle comes to mind right away. This is a young lady who was killed by an illegal alien that was deported 5 times from San Francisco. These cities need to be defunded immediately. It's amazing to me. I don't know if you want to pivot into the $1.1 trillion omnibus bill. We can talk about that. But ultimately, we have now funded these cities among many other programs. And what are we telling the victims? What are we telling the people that have been victims of violent crime, of rape, of murder, of whatever, that we just don't care about them? We don't care about their lives. We would rather infiltrate the city and have all these people on social programs so that they become new Democratic voters, so that we can then in turn expand our base even more and drown out the suburban and or rural Republican and or conservative leaning votes in the respective states. That's what this is all about. A lot of people like to say it's about Republicans wanting cheap labor and Democrats wanting cheap votes. I don't even believe so much that it's so much the labor anymore. This is about succumbing to leftism, socialism, progressivism, and collectivism. And the Republicans, for whatever reason, are beholden to that.
Let's talk a moment about this term that is bandied about called anchor babies. And I think the philosophy is that if you're not American, but you want to secure citizenship for yourself in America, you use this process. You get pregnant in your home country, you sneak across the border or come here legally maybe with a tourist visa, and you have a baby in America. And that baby is now considered by American law, or at least by the Obama administration, to be an American citizen. And therefore, since the baby is American, the mother can no longer be deported. She gets automatic entry and she's granted all of the benefits of being an American citizen. Is that the practice as you understand it, and is it legal?
Well, I don't believe that it is legal. However, it is certainly the practice. It's the practice that the left has been doing for years. As a matter of fact, I believe it was introduced by Ted Kennedy. He was one of the people that initiated the initial Anchor Baby program. But when you think about it, these people come here, just as you said, they have a child here. But now that child needs parents, right? So now the parents are now legally bound here. But now that child and the parents can now what? Bring on relatives and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and everything else. And so where does it end? So what I think we ought to do is we ought to look at the 14th Amendment and realize that there are 5 words in the 14th Amendment that really makes what they have been doing and allowed to be have happened for so long illegal. And that is subject to the jurisdiction of. Those 5 words determine who is a citizen and who is not a citizen. And
now,
it
hold
doesn't
on for
say,
just a second. I'm going to read an exact text of the 14th Amendment. It says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. So you're saying there's a loophole already in there.
the subject to the jurisdiction of, meaning subject to the jurisdiction of who? Of Congress, not the executive branch, of Congress. They're the ones who decide on what? Naturalization. So if they decide, they get to pick and choose basically who is a naturalized citizen and who is not. Therefore, because that is in the 14th Amendment, truly these folks are not legal citizens. Now, again, you're going to argue that to the Supreme Court. That's something that Donald Trump was talking about when Jorge Ramos interrupted him in the beginning of his campaign. And that's something that if he wins, that eventually may go back in front of the Supreme Court and they'll decide on the interpretation. From my interpretation, if you're a strict constructionist and you look at the Constitution, you can clearly see that subject to the jurisdiction of relegates or delegates, if you will, in this matter, that Congress makes the naturalization decisions.
So there it is. There is the interpretation of the Constitution that could be argued before the U.S. Supreme Court in opposition to the Obama administration's liberal approach right now, which is to welcome any pregnant mom who wants to have a baby here and give her citizenship as soon as she has her baby here. In fact, there's some tourist organizations now that sell tickets to America just to have your baby in America. I think they call it birth tourism here now in America. And, you know, whether it's right or wrong, it's happening. And Josh Bernstein, you think there's a constitutional argument to stop that?
I do. And I hope that that is an argument that the next incoming president, God willing, will be a Republican, either Donald Trump or Ted Cruz, that they have the testicular fortitude, if you will, to bring that up to the Supreme Court. Because I think it's important, and I think it's something that needs to be, renegotiated now to find out what is the interpretation. Now, granted, look, our Supreme Court is definitely left-leaning. We've got a couple of conservatives, but we thought we were getting a conservative with John Roberts, and he hasn't been nearly as conservative, obviously, with his 2 decisions on Obamacare. So we're in a situation where, one more left-leaning radical judge, and we're going to be in some pretty bad shape.
Well, I think you're right. The next president, whoever it is, will probably nominate 4 Supreme Court justices. Many of them that are currently serving are up there in years. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the omnibus spending plan and Paul Ryan.
This is PIJN News, defending your religious freedom. Dr. Chaps will be right back.
Let's take a stand with Israel today. Would you sign a petition with me? Visit our website, prayinjesusname.org. Again, that's prayinjesusname.org. And sign a petition to defend Israel, who is America's closest ally, certainly in the Middle East, if not in the entire world. We remember watching Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu give that speech at the UN when he warned about the making of an Islamic nuclear bomb, and that is being forged in Iran. But what are we doing now? The USA is negotiating with the Europeans to allow Iran to continue to develop nuclear material. Well, that's not right. Do we really trust this man, Hassan Rouhani, the president of Iran, who is the former nuclear weapons chief? You don't think they're going to build a nuclear bomb when his predecessor, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, literally threatened to wipe Israel off the map of history? Now, we need to take a stand. Why is American foreign policy to fund the Muslim Brotherhood? Let's sign a petition to stop that. Stop sending our taxpayer dollars to fund the Muslim Brotherhood. And let's also sign a petition to protect the Jewish homeland. Both of those are available today at our website, prayinjesusname.org. And when you sign those petitions, we will fax them to Congress. Instead, the failed foreign policy of the Obama administration, starting with Hillary Clinton and now John Kerry, is pressuring Israel to give up Jerusalem. Why? we should never divide the eternal capital of Israel, which is Jerusalem, and we should move the American embassy there. But instead, now the Obama administration is unfreezing the Iranian bank accounts, sending $7 billion to them on the hope of empty promises that maybe they'll stop their nuclear program. Let's defend Israel. The Jewish people are our friends. They have a right to security in their homeland. Visit prayinjesusname.org. Again, that's prayinjesusname.org, and sign that petition right now.
Empowering you, the grassroots activist. Here is Dr. Chaps.
Welcome back. I'm joined for one more segment by my new friend, Josh Bernstein, host of JoshBernsteinPoliticalWriter.com, also a TV show and a radio show. Josh, you're also a spokesman for AMAC, AMAC.US. What is that?
AMAC is the Association of Mature American Citizens. We are the conservative alternative to the groups out there like AARP. We're a senior-based organization for seniors 50 years of age or older. We're a conservative-based group. We believe in more liberty, more prosperity, and more freedom in seniors' health care and their overall decisions that they make for themselves. You can check us out again at www.amac.us, www.amac.us, or you can call them toll-free at 888-262-2006, 888-262-2006.
AMAC is the conservative alternative to AARP. Looks like we have a friendly dog in the background there.
Live television.
I love cameos and celebrity appearances. So, Josh, tell us now about the omnibus spending bill. There was a revolt within the conservative wing, the Freedom Caucus of the United States Congress, to fire John Boehner as Speaker of the House. They elected Paul Ryan as Speaker of the House on the condition that he would govern with conservative values. And now, is he doing that?
Absolutely, he is not. He is John Boehner 2.0. I've been calling him on my television show Paul Rhinoceros, because I believe he's a huge rhino Republican. I came out strongly against him when the establishment was talking about him as the next speaker. You know, what's amazing to me is that we had about a 72 to 96 hour window of opportunity, a little glimmer of hope, if you will, to actually put somebody, one of us in there rather than one of them as speaker. And for whatever reason, I don't know, but for whatever reason, the Freedom Caucus actually caved and decided to back Paul Ryan for speaker. You had Darrell Issa talking about, carrying his gym bags. You had Jason Chaffetz talking about how if Paul Ryan would run, he would absolutely support him. So it just seems as though they just decided for whatever reason that Paul Ryan was somehow going to be different. Now, the first clue could have been the fact that he said he didn't want the job, and then he said, well, I tell you what, I'll take the job, but I have my own rules that have to be met first in order to do it, including making it harder to have him removed. So Paul Rhinoceros has become King Rhinoceros, in my opinion. But this bill is a disaster. $1.1 trillion, over 2,000 pages long. It was written by special interest and lobbyists. It fully funds the despicable organization Planned Parenthood. It fully funds sanctuary cities. It fully funds Obamacare. As a matter of fact, there's even provisions in it that make it harder to undo Obamacare. And the worst part, I believe, is it fully funds the Syrian refugee resettlement program. So we got nothing. We got absolutely nothing. You might as well just take a dice and roll it, because it doesn't matter whether Republicans are in charge of the House or Senate or Democrats. As a matter of fact, Chuck Schumer said this was one of the best Democratic legislative years they have ever seen in the Senate. And Nancy Pelosi said that they got everything they could imagine and then some. So I guess the Democrats had a very Merry Christmas.
And this is despite Republicans having a so-called supermajority in the United States House of Representatives, and even having taken back the Senate, we still cannot pass a conservative budget that defunds, for example, Planned Parenthood abortion clinics are still getting our taxpayer dollars to kill innocent children. Why would Paul Ryan put up with this?
Because he's not a conservative. He's got a conservative record score, I believe, in the 60s or even low 50s. The average score in the House, I believe, is only a 67. So there's really not a ton of conservatives left. Granted, 95 Freedom Caucus members did vote against it. But here's what happened. One of the things Paul Ryan said is, things will be different. I'll do things different. We're not going to do the old way of doing things. I'll respect the Hastert rule, former Speaker of the House Denny Hastert's rule, in which legislation can only be brought upon and voted upon when it is agreed upon by the majority party. That wasn't the case. The omnibus bill was passed with mostly Democratic votes and House leadership votes. Then it went into the Senate, where it met with the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Mitch McConnell. That's what I've been calling him, because he's been an absolute disaster in the Senate. So when you're two members, you've got Ryan in the House and McConnell in the Senate, I mean, it really doesn't matter anymore, because neither one of them are good conservatives. So we're in a world of hurt here. And the sad thing is that whether it's Trump or Cruz, they're going to have to use executive orders in order to undo all of the damage that Barack Obama has done and continues to do in this last year in his presidency.
Isn't that amazing? Josh, we have just about 30 seconds left. Do you talk about your website, your program, anything you want to say?
Sure. Well, I have a television show, the Josh Bernstein Television Show. You can find it on YouTube. You can Google it. It's all over the place. You can find it on Roku and things like that. My website, again, joshbernsteinpoliticalwriter.com. But the best way to find out more about me is to just put in Google and put in Josh Bernstein Television or Josh Bernstein Radio or what have you, and you'll find 10, 15 pages worth of information out there. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, all the other good social media contacts as well.
Thank you so much. We're out of time. Please visit prayinjesusname.org or call us toll free at 866-OBEY-GOD if you need prayer. God bless you in Jesus' name. We'll see you next time. How is your marriage doing? Ladies, would you like to learn how to get your husband to love you the way Christ loves the church? Men, would you like your wife to show proper respect? You know, there's a Bible way to have a godly marriage. I'm not saying I'm the expert, but we interview in a 4-part video teaching series a marriage and family ministry expert, Vince D'Acchioli, and we go through the scriptures in 4 different parts. Part 1 is God's design for man and woman. Part 2 is godly roles for husband and wife. 3 is sex and intimacy within godly marriage. And also God's plan for divorce. You want to have this important 4-part video series available for a suggested donation of $30 if you call our toll-free prayer line at 866-OBEY-GOD. Again, that's 866-OBEY-GOD. Or visit our website, prayinjesusname.org.
Dr. Chaps needs your financial support to stay on the air. Would you please send your best donation today? Please visit prayinjesusname.org to donate online. Or you can mail a check to Pray in Jesus Name Ministries, Post Office Box 77077, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80970. You can also call us toll free right now at 866-OBEY-GOD. That's 866-OBEY-GOD. Please sign up for our free emails at prayinjesusname.org. Again, that's prayinjesusname.org.